everybody, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 2 of the Leisure Time Podcast with your boy, iMac. You already know the deal. This episode is brought to you by Board Football Punks, the new wave of NFT. Go ahead and give them a follow on Twitter and Instagram. We got a special guest today on the show, one of the baddest men to ever play in the CFL and the NFL. Eunice, Louisiana legend, I think I said that right, Raging Cajun, football legend, 5-year NFL vet, 11-year CFL vet, my big brother, Kyrie's Angry Bird Herbert joins the show, talking all things ball and much more. Let's get to it now. It's time for the Angry Bird interview, baby. Let's get it.
What's up? What's up?
Kai, what's the deal, brother?
Oh, man, good to see you, Ivan.
Man,
been a while.
Good to see you. I ain't seen you since like 2018.
Yeah, it's been a couple. What's that, man? That's 4 years. Time is flying, man. Time is flying.
Time is flying. You know, I think sometimes we're so used to that football time frame where,
yeah,
you know how it's just always going, right? And we can never sit back to really realize, like, damn, 3 years just damn passed. 4 years.
Yeah, like a year is way different. It's different seeing a year go by,
right? So, bro, what's the deal, fam? How you been, Angry Bird? Like
man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed indeed. You know, hey, you did pretty good with the Eunice thing. You was close. You know, Louisiana.
Eunice, hey, I was practicing this whole time, bro.
But see, it's cool because you like you nice. Like I'm nice, you nice. We all nice. You know what I'm saying? So I get it, but it's actually pronounced Eunice. And you know, here in Cajun land, like it don't go Herbert or Hebert. It's A-Bear. You know how that goes.
Hey, man, I'm already knowing, brother. So I consider you a super dad, bro. So how the kids doing, bro? I see the oldest just graduated, I believe. So how's fatherhood treating you, Angry Bird?
Dude, I think it's a talent that I have. I'm pretty good at I figured out how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Not how to be a father, but how to make them. So I got to make it stop. Man, last time I saw you, I had 2 kids. It's been 4 years. I now got 5. God. Like it got to stop. It's it. That's it. No mas, no more. So the oldest is actually 21 now. She's had a 21st birthday. Okay. And the youngest is she's not born. I got one coming in 8 weeks. Oh. So yeah, that's number 5. Number 5 is in 8 weeks.
Bro, you still having babies?
Yeah, man. That's what I say. I gotta chill. Like, yeah, like I'm cool at being a dad, and making them is fun, but man, they get to costing. I ain't gonna get none of them.
I got one, and it's costly. I can't imagine having 5 right now.
Yeah, and the 21 costs as much as the 1-year-old.
So, bro, Kai, as you know, big Super Bowl week coming up next weekend, right? We got the Cincinnati Bengals, the surprise team of the playoffs, and we got the Rams, a team that, you know, a lot of people could see in the Super Bowl when this year started. So, yeah. Quick question. Which team you choosing to win the game, and what is the main reason why you're choosing that team to win the game?
Okay, so we just got sport betting in Louisiana last week. The first thing I did was bet for the Bengals to play in the Super Bowl. First thing, because I'm alum. I
know you're alum. That's
Joe
what I was
Burrow
about to get to.
is representing Louisiana. Jamar Chase is representing Louisiana. Like I watched those boys. I went to a couple games at LSU whenever they were all there, and I was a big fan. I was like, okay, this quarterback's a winner. And when it comes down to it, it was a time where you could really hang your hat on defensive wins championships. But these days, people are outscoring the other. So the better quarterback is tending to win. And I called for the 49ers to lose. Jimmy Garoppolo was the worst quarterback in of the last 4 remaining. You're not going to make it like that. You can't win with the worst guy. When it's all said and done, I'm going to bet on Cincinnati with my heart. My mind says that the Rams' defensive line is going to be unstoppable and it's going to be a problem. But at the same time, Matt Stafford may still Matt Stafford on you. You know what I'm saying? He's good, but he's not the Joe Burrow's like Kobe, and Matt Stafford's more like he good, but he ain't like all-time killer. Great. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't imagine it being more than a 7-point game.
I think honestly, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm not going to give my pick just yet, but I think that it's going to be exciting. I love that new blood is in the game, right? We're so used to seeing
Yeah,
Brady, we're so used to seeing Mahomes, we're so used to seeing Manning, we're so used to
yeah.
seeing Ben Roethlisberger, right? So it's good to see some new blood in there with the potential to win their first Super Bowl. So it's in the air, man. So I'm gonna transition. How was it growing up in Eunice, Louisiana, bro? And when did you fall in love with the game?
You know what? Growing up in Eunice was, I mean, it was a little bit tough, man. I grew up at and below the poverty line for most of my childhood. And then being here, like the way that you see the racial difference in the NFL where you got one black head coach at the moment, like
Yeah.
that's always been my reality. Being a smaller minority in a town where there was a surplus or overflow of people who didn't look like me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went to high school. I graduated in 1998. My brother graduated in 2000. And I want to say, well, he was 12 years behind me.
All right.
And he was the first class to have non-segregated proms. Up until 2000 and I guess 11, we had a white prom, you had a black prom. You had a white homecoming court, a black homecoming court. Same, not even at the same time, different places, like different week, different place. So
That's
that was
crazy.
crazy, So that's why I really wanted to get out and see the world and be a part of something that was more diverse. And football opened up the doors to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like winners win. I would have been a winner no matter what. But I had a undying passion to be great at football from the age of 10. Like I made up my mind I was going to play in the NFL when I was 10 years old.
Well, what happened to get like at 10 years old? So did something happen on the Pop Warner field? Did you?
No, we didn't have Pop Warner. Like I'm outside behind the projects putting up 7 tuggies. You know what I'm saying? Like I got 7 today. Like what's up? Yeah. So I mean, and football is a huge thing in our culture here. Like it's almost larger than life. Like it's almost like some Friday Night Light stuff where you see people shut down their businesses so that they can go to the game.
That's wild. Because I talked to KJ because KJ Wright, he grew up in Mississippi, and he told me the same exact thing that you told me regarding the segregated proms and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah,
it's crazy that something that seems so ancient is so relevant. Because if you think about it, 20 years ago wasn't that long ago. So we could have a whole nother interview regarding
that'd be a whole nother interview, man.
Oppression and all those things that minorities faced in this country. But I want to kind of highlight you. So you lettered in basically every sport in high school. I saw basketball, track. You even set the school record, I believe, in the high jump. So other than football, what was your favorite sport in high school?
So basketball was my first love. Basketball was my first love, but I was just always super rough. And just you played with me. You were my teammate, so you saw how I get down. So that didn't transition as well in basketball. But like I had scholarship offers in basketball as well. But in Division I sports, you could only do 2 sports. Yeah. So I did track and football at UL.
You did?
Yeah, man. I won medals and like I was second in the conference. I don't really like talking about second, but I guess since it was my secondary sport, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, but that was
it in the high jump?
No, it was actually a long jump.
What?
Yeah, Sun Belt Conference, silver medals. Yeah.
Hey, that's cool, bro. That's so cool, bro. Because and that transitions perfectly. Because I was gonna ask, like, what made you choose Lafayette? Like, what made you choose the Raging Cajun?
Well, you know what? I was actually born at the charity hospital across the street from the stadium I played college football in and the track I ran on. And the reason when I was given, look, I could have played 2 sports at pretty much any college, and a lot of them was like, you can play football and basketball or football and track, but football need to be one of them. So I was like, well, football and basketball is not going to benefit one another the same way that track and football would benefit each other, and really more track benefiting my football side of things. Like I go out there at track practice and get my speed up. I mean, my junior year, I ran a 4.38. And I attest that to my track and field background because I mean,
like was one of your family members, like your mom or dad, super athletic? Do they have a background of sports at all? Because I feel like you legitly had every trait working for you. You had speed, you had size, you could hit.
Yeah,
hard.
my mom was a pretty good athlete, and on my dad's side, we had family that was went on to do great things. I actually had an uncle who it's a great uncle. He's much older than my mom, but he played for the Lakers on my dad's side.
Yeah. That's pretty cool though. So what was your favorite football moment with the Raging Cajun? What was your favorite football moment?
Oh, with the Raging Cajuns, that's a good question, bro. You know what? I had a 3-game time frame. It wasn't one game, it wasn't one moment, but this span of 3 games. I had 23 tackles, 17 tackles, and 15 tackles in 3 games. So that's what 17 and 23 is 40. And then you drop another.
I'm a history teacher.
Whatever the numbers were, but it was a whole lot of tackles. And like one of those games, Cliff Kingsbury was the quarterback. What? Texas Tech. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Hey, bro, that's so sweet, man. Like, dude, I think that as a football player, it's rare that you get in the zone.
Yeah.
But when you get in that zone, I feel like every play just comes to you, right? Bro?
Like that year was just crazy. Like we played against a smaller school named Wofford. They ran the option. I had 22 tackles that game too. So I had 2 20-plus tackle games as a safety. So
that's wow.
And those games were fun. Like they stand out like see ball, get ball. And every time, like I was on it. Like I was on it. We played against, and so I went to Minnesota as a rookie, and the Vikings were there to see the safety from the Minnesota Golden Gophers. But that game, I had 23 tackles, a forced fumble, a pass breakup, and a fumble recovery. So I got their attention, and that actually opened the door for me to end up in that same camp. And they ended up getting the other guy too. They took both of the safeties on both teams.
Yeah, that's so cool though. You know, I had to hop on live real quick with Instagram. Y'all see it with my boy Angry Bird. You see it. So, bro, you decide. I mean, not decide. So after college, you end up getting picked up by the Vikings and then getting picked up by the Texans, right? So as a rookie, you played for 2 teams, bro. So what was the biggest shock you had football-wise while playing in your first year in the league, right? Because
my first year, I learned that,
right?
So my rookie year, I was in Minnesota with Randy Moss, Dante Culpepper. I mean, that's say less. That's enough. Yeah, and I went there, and within 2 practices, I got put in the starting lineup. Like I had already, this guy. Matter of fact, it wasn't 2 practices. I'm exaggerating. It was 2 days, which was 4 practices because we were in 2-a-days. Yeah, I got myself into the starting lineup. Like it was like I was that guy. I was that guy. And so in my mind, I made it. Yeah. Like I had nothing. I had humble beginnings and all that. And I made more money on my signing bonus than shit I had ever made in my life. So I thought I made it. So I got me an Escalade, 23s, and back then 23s was the biggest. Like I was killing it. Oh my God, bro. I was killing it. I was on some big time stuff, man. I was on some big time shit. Man, so I made it. So when the older guys, the guys who were proven and earned it in the years prior, when they were going to do stuff after curfew or whatever, I was like, shit, I'm going to go do stuff after curfew. Or between meeting time and curfew, I'm going to go do stuff. But I hadn't earned that. So just as fast as I got myself into the starting lineup, I try to go ahead and be grown and do what the grown folk was doing. Yeah. And I found myself with a rude awakening. And I was like, I've already proven myself here in camp. Y'all put me in the starting lineup because y'all know I'm great. Y'all know what I'm going to do. You know what I'm bringing to the table. So if y'all ain't fucking with me, then I'm just going to go somewhere else. So, it ain't no big deal. Man, I talk all that cash shit after they cut me. Man, I went in the car. I called my mom. I was crying.
Man,
Mom.
Man, it be same, bro.
Bro, I cried for 6 hours in the car, but that was a rude awakening. And so that was okay, this is something I'll never let happen again. Yeah. I'll die before I just get cut for being stupid. I'm going to go out here and be great.
So that's what the Vikings. So when you got picked up with the Texans, what was the mindset shift? How did the mindset
shift? Was man, I'm not here to party. I'm here to work. I was like, I'll never be outworked. Because and we played for Coach Thorpe, and one of the things that he always spoke on, 2 things you can control that has 0 to do with talent: attitude and effort. Amen. Positive attitude, effort. It doesn't require talent. You can be the worst player in the world, but give it all you got.
Oh yeah, I remember
be
from Montreal, me and you used to compete to who gets to run into the ball fastest.
I was like 10 years older than you, right?
Yeah, you was, and you was still moving.
We was getting it
because
it was us all the time. It wasn't nobody else that was beating us to the ball.
Exactly, bro. So,
but it's iron sharpens iron, right? So I got to the Texans, and it kind of backfired on me because I was so committed to working. I didn't take any days off in the offseason. When I tell you, because I signed with them the last 3 games of that year, and then going into the offseason, dude, no exaggeration, I took 0 days off. So I've heard the expression before, 0 days off, and I made it a literal thing. Man, I went so crazy in that offseason. First day of training camp, ripped my hamstring right out the bone from my glute to my lateral knee to the side of my knee. Because I was so committed to not taking days off. I was working harder and not smarter. As I got older, I learned how to put the two things together. But I couldn't play. And so I signed an injury settlement, and I never got right that season. So I signed a contract to go to Canada once I got healthy to show the world that, hey, I'm back. I can still play. Let's just go here, show them what I got. So I went to Ottawa. The first year I went there, I set their special team records for most special team tackles in the season.
I was about to get to that too.
I got that. And then I was actually a backup on defense until like week 6. The dude who was starting in front of me, one day he didn't come to practice. He decided he was going to go pimp. Dude from Mississippi. He decided he was going to go pimp. So he was pimping in Ottawa, and that opened the door. And the dude was a better cover guy than me, and I was playing the Sam. So you know how it is to play the Sam in Canada, not like playing the Sam in the NFL. Sam in Canada is more
basically like a nickel.
Yeah. So he was a better cover guy. I was a better tackler and hitter. But as far as man coverage, and that's what they needed, somebody who can cover. He was a better cover guy. But when pimping became more important than football, that opened the door for me.
Guy.
Yeah.
So Kai, like I was saying, bro, any advice you got for those who feel like I gotta go hard Monday through Sunday, like I gotta train every day, like hard as shit. Like any advice you have for that kind of player regarding, taking care of their body and what they should be doing?
Well, you know what? Whenever I spoke about working smarter. Like that's not something that you should be able to do as on your own. Like I don't even believe in cutting my own grass. Nobody come and do, you know what I'm saying? Like they got people who do that. That's how they support their family. I'm gonna let them. I don't want them to come to my job and do my shit. Yeah. So don't try to figure it all out yourself. There are people out there and places out there where you can get information on how to do it right. Yeah. And me getting in touch with Heather McCurdy and
I remember.
Man, I worked out with her for 6 years and never did the same exercise twice. Never did the same workout twice in 6 years. So muscle confusion is everything. Never not being on the same stuff, always changing it up, keeping it your plyometrics, and just working everything, not just being a muscle guy up top, not being a muscle, but it's not just arms and legs. I'm talking about every fiber of every muscle being activated at some point throughout the week. That's what it was. Yeah. Muscle confusion. Like that. Find someone that's going to be there, that's going to help you to work smarter, because at the end of it, when you're determined to be a part of this 1%, you're going to do any and everything. You're going to work as hard as possible. The good ones are. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that can be a detriment to you, that you've overworked, you've overkilled, or you just didn't do it the right way, and then you find yourself hurt like I did. Like those days, that Texans deal, that wasn't with the Texan training staff. Mm-hmm. I was in there with Eminem, Lose Yourself, put it on, just go crazy. Like, the training staff was off. They went on there, like, it's off season. We're going to take, they took a little time off, and I took no time off. So I was in there just hulking that shit, just trying to lift every weight I could see. I looked like I ate the weights. So that was a bad idea. Trust the people that come before you. Find yourself a person that's going to push you. Iron sharpens iron, right? Find someone that's going to match your work ethic and be as committed as you are. And, don't be afraid to take somebody with you, because sometimes the guy that may not be as talented as you, he may be the guy that can help push you, because he's the effort guy. Yeah. Take the effort guy with you and let your talent meet his effort and equal excellence.
I like that. So you touched base on Ottawa. established yourself as one of the most dominant special teams player, probably arguably in Canadian history. That's one. But also you was a pretty damn good linebacker as well there too. So tell me about those early 2 years in 04 and 05 in Ottawa.
Man, those first 2 years, I was really there was a guy named Gerald Vaughn from Mississippi. And he was like my icon. He was Ronnie. Growing up, it was Ronnie Lott. And then once I made it to professional football, like there was no safety that I was really looking up to at that time. But when I went to Canada, I came across this guy, Gerald Vaughn, and I thought he was the greatest football player I ever played with. And so I mirrored him. I wanted to be like him. There's another Canadian guy named Kelly Wilshire. And he was pretty good too. But, the Canadian ratio and whatnot. So it was going to be hard for me to play safety. But, shoot, by that second year, they moved me to my natural position, safety. And I'm what they would call a ratio changer. Yeah. Like, normally, that's not how they do it. Like, normally your ratio's made up, offensive lineman, safety, places that they can kind of hide.
Wing back, full back,
Yeah. So I end up being a starting safety, and it's like, oh, you're not going to make no money like that. There's no American safeties in this league. And the Canadian guy, he was kind of like laughing at me. He was pretty arrogant. He was like, yeah, you're not going to play. Da, da, da. I was like, all right, yeah, okay. And shit, that second year, I was second on the team in touchdowns.
Damn,
from safety.
Wow.
Yeah, from safety.
That is so wild, bro. Because I remember you playing safety, bro. Even sometimes I remember in packages, even though you was at the wheel, Thorpe would drop your ass like deep thirds.
Go to safety.
You're so versatile, bro, and that's so cool. So after you played for Ottawa, bro, you get a shot with Tampa. What went on?
Bro, that Tampa thing was wild because that first year they signed me after the first year in Ottawa. Like I went out there, set that record on special teams.
Was it a 5-year contract?
5 hours. More like 5 months. So but the CFL said so. Whenever I first got to Canada, I signed a year and an option. Okay. But my agent wasn't from Canada; he was from New York. Mm-hmm. So he's like, "You got a year and an option." We thought the option was ours. Mm-hmm. So we was like, "Should we out?" And Tampa signed us. And man, the CFL fought and was like, "Nah, he can't go." And they called Tampa and told them I'm under contract. And the Tampa sent me a letter in the mail. I'm thinking it's a signing bonus. I'm like, I'm about to get broke off. I got my letter, the letterhead with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm at my crib in Houston that I bought when I played with the Texans, big crib, all that good stuff. Man, I'm walking back from the mailbox. Yeah. Man, it was my contract that I signed with Tampa with a big void stamp on it. Contract was voided. So
I hate that.
I had to go back to Canada. And then so that next year is the year that I was telling you I was second on the team in touchdowns. Yeah. I led the league in special team tackles. Like that's unheard of. Lead the league in special team tackles, second on the team in touchdowns, and like probably third on the team in tackles.
Oh, so the thing is, so before that 2005 season with Ottawa, you were supposed to be with Tampa Bay.
Exactly.
That's how it happened.
So okay. I had to go back to Ottawa. And I was like, all right, cool. This is my last year. I'm about to go ham. Like, I didn't have no bitterness towards them. I'm like, I don't have the energy or time to be bitter. I got work to do. So I went back out there and led the league in tackles. I broke my franchise record on special team tackles from the year prior. And like I said, second on the team in touchdowns, right? At the end of that season, she got dicey because now Ottawa came to me with the largest contract in their franchise history.
Tell me about that.
4 years for $1 million for an American safety. Like nobody would have believed that. And then to top it, they offered me a guarantee, and the CFL was like, "No, we don't do guarantees. You can't have a guarantee." And the Canadian players, for the most part, in the PA, they were fighting it. They're like, "This is going to ruin our league." So the owner of the team was like, "Look, man, if they not with it, I'll sign a separate private contract with you in New York to guarantee you your money." So I was like, okay, and you spoke about me being a dad earlier. Okay, I got 2 kids. They want to guarantee me $1 million in a 4 or 5 year time frame. I would be an irresponsible dad if I turned that down to go take a chance on making the team in somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I took the deal. I would too. And then that was I probably signed that contract in December. And then by February, the organization folded. The team folded. And so when they folded, I received a letter They said any player that's not picked up in the expansion draft or dispersal draft, because we were dispersing to other teams. If you're not picked up in the dispersal draft, you now become a free agent. So I had $1 million contract and all kind of other baggage that people didn't want to take on. So nobody picked me up in the dispersal draft. So I was like, boom. And I was kind of sad about it, but I was like, I get it. Nobody else saw the value in me that the Lieberman saw in me. Mm-hmm. So Lieberman saw in me, excuse me. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go. I'm free agent. I told my agent to start calling people. Man, within 48 hours, I had a workout with Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and another Canadian team. I was like, all right, here we go. Man, I went to Cincinnati first. And then I was supposed to fly from Cincinnati to Indy to, I want to say it was Calgary. No, BC. From Indy to BC. My flights were all booked. My agent had it set up for me to go to boom, 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 boom. Man, I did the workout in Cincinnati. And the dude who did the workout with me was out there, a personnel guy. He'd been with the team for 36 years. He said, I've never seen a workout like that. They called my agent. They was like, this is the best workout I've ever seen in 36 years. Like, you know me. So, like,
I know
athletic side, moving side, like, that was nothing because all I have to do is be a T-shirt warrior for a day. Like, and I got a shot. So they called my agent. It's like, cancel his flights. He ain't going nowhere else. We booked him a room at a place across from the stadium. Yeah. And we're going to pick him up in the morning, come get the contract done. They offered me some, like, real money up front to where I knew I wasn't going, where you don't feel like you're going to get cut because they broke bread. And if they did break bread, I would already had enough money to cover a whole CFL season. Yeah. So I go back to the hotel. Next day, my room number rings. And so I'm thinking, okay, dude coming to pick me up from downstairs. And it wasn't him. It wasn't him. It was a dude from Winnipeg saying, "Oh, we picked you up off waivers." I was like, "Nah," because like I ain't on waivers. I'm a free agent. I got a letter. I got a letter proving I ain't no free agent. So I'm gonna need you to go ahead and get off this phone. I ain't coming. Click. Man, he called back again. So the Bengals called them. They was like, "Look, we'll buy out the contract." And they were gonna buy out my contract and still give me the same bread they were going to give me before. Mm-hmm. And Winnipeg was like, nah, we don't want the player. We don't want the money. We want the player. Because the Grey Cup was in Winnipeg that year. So now, here I am in Cincinnati in the hotel fighting for them to, like, I call it, dude, I pleaded with them. First, I tried some gangster shit like, nah, I ain't coming, and then I went from that shit to, like, Pinky, like, oh, man, please don't kill me. I got a girlfriend and a wife on the side. Like, don't cut me. Like, let me go. You know what I'm saying? So, bro, I hate that. Crazy. So they didn't release me. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not going up there. So y'all wasting y'all time because I'm not showing up. So I held out the first 4 games of the CFL season. And every week that went by, training camp was going by with the Bengals. And the Bengals would call like, hey, y'all got that resolved? You got it resolved? And then when it came down to like a week left in training camp, there's like, you can't come here and make the team if you haven't practiced one day. You don't know the defense. It's like, so they end up working together. Cincinnati and Winnipeg worked together. I had 4 years in the option for $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. So they picked up that contract. Winnipeg said, look, if he comes and do 2 years, we'll let him go. And so Cincinnati told me that's like, look, you go there, do those 2 years, and do what you've been doing. I promise you, we'll give you a shot whenever you after you do those 2 years. Sure enough, I went to Winnipeg, did my 2 years. We went from the worst defense, one of the worst defenses in history, to being like setting records for best defense ever. Because they picked up myself, a middle linebacker, and a D lineman that were all pretty. If you got good players on all 3 levels, like generational players, like you got a shot. So we went to the Grey Cup. We lost, but
who y'all play?
What's up?
Who y'all playing that Grey Cup?
We played against Kerry Joseph, and man, it was the Banjo Bowl all over. We played Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan, okay. Who Durant wasn't a Q at that time, right?
No, Kerry Joseph was another cat from Louisiana.
Okay. Yeah, how was that? Yeah. What was the score? How was that game?
Man, it was a pretty close game. I think we lost. Matter of fact, Dinwiddie was our quarterback because our actual starting quarterback got hurt in the championship game. He broke his arm. So we had to put in a guy who had never played before. Dinwiddie had never started. His first start was in the Grey Cup. And at the end, man, he threw 3 picks to the same cat. And At the end, we just needed a field goal. We just needed a chance, and we threw it. Or did we need 4 points? We need 3 or 4 points, but we had a chance, and he threw a pick, his third pick to the same guy.
Damn,
I was like, man, but like for him to have to play his first game in the Grey Cup, like that's a tough deal.
That's jitters, bro. That's definitely tough. So you touched based on the Bengals, bro. And me personally, I remember we had conversations back in Montreal, how like you told me about how you broke records there and how you changed the NFL rule, because before you, players could have like kind of a running start and kickers were a little bit farther back so we could have a return. After you, now the ball is up. The players.
You know what? I was one of the craziest people that probably got noticed. I don't think they changed that because of me, but it's because of people like me. Like in the CFL, they completely changed the. It used to be the ball bounced, hit the ground, like you could just take people out, and it'd be a 5-yard penalty. And I had a bajillion tackles like that for 2 years running. I was like, nah, this ain't working. Yeah. And then they changed it to even if you don't attempt to look like you're trying to slow down, it'd be a 15-yarder, even if the ball hit the ground. That rule was 100% catered toward what I was doing.
Damn, bro. So what made you such a great special team player, bro? Because
it was special teams is effort. Yeah. And so this is the time where my hard work and my talent came together. It's like, shit, I just ran fast and hit anything that got in the way. And everybody else had an agenda. They talk about technique and trying to, okay, this is how I'm going to block you over there. Fuck about none of that. Like, I'm getting where I'm going. You ain't stopping me. And so even in the NFL, they would put 2 people on me at gunner. And so I was standing out there with a neck roll, like a big linebacker lined up at, oh, look at this big motherfucker, whatever. Like, he ain't going nowhere. And I was like, that's it. I was like, they sent y'all too?
So you played actual gunner?
Yeah. The year I set the record for the Bengals, I was a gunner. So I went from, and I mean, that's another thing. Even today, if you watch the NFL, you won't see a guy that's a gunner and a wedge buster. You know what I'm saying? They're not the same person. One's a linebacker and one's a receiver.
I don't even think wedge buster exists anymore.
Nah, they ain't sending people down. I mean, you still got big guys that's there, but it's a 2-man wedge. I used to have to take on the 4-man wedge.
Run through it.
Because I didn't care. Like, I legit didn't care. We played against the Cowboys, and like all my family came down, and man, it's crazy. I was like, man, I die for this shit. Like, ain't nobody gonna embarrass me in front of my mama. Like, my mama here, my cousin here, my uncle here, and I went down to the wedge. I just go like a torpedo and just hit anything moving, because they care more about living than I do at that point. Like, I was outside of my goddamn mind. I care nothing about no life or death. Like, I'm about to destroy this wedge and get paid. Like.
And that's what made you such a great special teams player. I interviewed a dude last week.
You got to be crazy.
And he said that you got to have a certain edge to you. I ain't going to say crazy. You got to have a certain edge, and you got to have a certain unfuckwitableness to you, that when you line up on special teams, like, no man go outwork, outman me, right?
Can't fuck with me. Bro, when they used to put 2 in front on the wedge, on the gunner, it's called the vice. They put the vice on you on the wet at gunner. I'd be like, 2 people? I was like, your coach said y'all 2? I was like, 2 ain't enough. 2 ain't enough. So I would whip them 2 motherfuckers' ass, and they would always have a person that would get the most dangerous. And so I would be whip them 2, and then the most dangerous person, the person waiting for most dangerous. Yeah, now you got to go. So and I go to the sideline, I'm like, Coach, I told you 2 wasn't enough pregame. You tried 3, they enough. Try 4. 4 might be your number. 4 might be your number. If I can tell you how many times I said that, like, it was crazy, but like you said, I just felt like I couldn't be fucked with.
Exactly. So at this time, is that when you played with Terrell Owens?
I played against Terrell that Cowboys game that we were talking about, and then he came in the next year. And I'm actually look, speaking to Terrell, this is my little home bar, but I gotta plug my dog. Like, I ain't plugging all them other bottles up there, but when you got a homie that got his own wine, you gotta rep.
Hey guys, 81 by T.O., man. Y'all make sure y'all cop a wine bottle. I seen T.O. talking about that on his podcast. It's called
Hey, and when I tell you the shit's like, it's good. Like,
what I see from afar, obviously from you and Terrell relationship, is that y'all really bros. Like, he goes.
Yeah, that's my dog.
Yeah, like y'all. So was it just instant, that relationship? Did y'all know?
No, you know what? He worked as hard as I did, and you know, anytime you see someone that'll work like that already has made it. Like he was already a Hall of Famer by the time we met, but he didn't work like he had already arrived. He worked like he still had something to prove. And so I had that respect for him. And then he watched me out there busting my head. And the crazy thing is the way our relationship grew was through my charitable stuff. So after I left the Bengals and I wasn't playing, I focused on my Kai Cares Foundation. I was going to do things in my community. I wanted to make a difference. And I did. I thank God I've done over 600 motivational speeches. I've coordinated 42 charity events. And, the rest is history.
Yeah,
like it was
your
actually following
foundation is great.
But
I
said, I'm going to have the message.
The mask thing you had. I remember the mask thing you had in Montreal. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, the masquerade was dope. So I'm sitting there right with my phone, like, okay, which one of my teammates going to come support what I'm doing in my community? Because I'm from a small town in Louisiana. They haven't seen the likes of Terrell Owens and Roy Williams and Roy Jones Jr. came one year and played my celebrity basketball game. But I was able to bless my community with stuff like that. Yeah. And like no charge. No one ever paid, no one had to pay. I had a no child turn away policy. So like 90% of anyone that came to my stuff, that kid was sponsored. Yeah. But so I'm like, let me just text the people that I'm friends with, which a lot of them were special teamers. They ain't no B-list or C-list. It was like guys, but they played in the NFL, so I respected that. And I knew that my community would respect that. And I was just scrolling through my phone, bro. So many people just didn't respond. Like, you were out of sight, out of mind. You ain't on the team no more. You out. Yeah. It's like, dang, I was just their captain. You know what I mean? I got 2 years, I was captain there. Yeah. And Terrell responded faster than anyone else. Damn. I was like, what? I was like, nah. So I called him. I sent like a copy paste text to everybody. Text. Yeah. And he was like, I'm in. Call him, like, yo, for real. I was like, what you need? No flight, no money, nothing. He was just in there to swimwear. And then he started doing every year. He even came to Canada to work with the kids in Canada. In both cities. He came to Montreal and he came to Ottawa. Wow. So like he stood in my wedding with me. You know what I'm saying? Like he like family. He's family.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, Jack. I remember he was at your wedding. By the way, that's probably the coolest wedding to have a wedding on your pro team's football field. That's probably one of the coolest flexes in the world. But besides that,
you know what? Since I got time to flex a little bit, the bigger flex wasn't doing it in a stadium that had never been, nothing like that had ever been done. And that was cool. But to get Porsche to sponsor, I had sponsors for the wedding. You know what I mean? The wife came into the stadium, the music playing, Porsche 911. Like we did it right. Like everybody in my wedding party got watches from Belova. Shout out to them because they really looked out. Like they gave us like $20,000 to $50,000 in watches for each side, bridesmaids and groomsmen.
So Kai, question. Yeah. What gave you your business savvy? What was that through just experiences? Was that through just, your parents instilling some entrepreneurship in you? But what gave you your
what? I had a sincere passion for working with kids. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't going to take no when it came to the children of my community. So I was going to knock on every door. And that's what gave me a different approach. A lot of NFL players that were doing things in their community had representation. So they had like their secretary reach out, or they had someone from their foundation reach out. I put on a suit and tie and went to every major corporation in my area and said, this is what I'm doing. I pitched it. So I personally raised like $1 million in kind and monetary sponsorship by going business to business and getting it done. I made the phone calls. I showed up to the place and I just learned that, okay, it means something to show your face and show your passion. And when people see that it's real.
Kai, you're saying that you applied that same work ethic that you did on that football field, working out for the trials, working out to be the best player in the CFL, to your business, to your foundation. So you basically put that same energy into wanting to help your community. Is that correct? Am I fair by
Absolutely. That's exactly what I did. I was like, it's work, and I'm not working for myself. So that's one thing that was hard. Like, having humble beginnings. And then working to have everything that you ever wanted in life, and you got it. And like now I'm going to go ask for something on somebody else's behalf. So I had to humble myself to be a representation for those who didn't have it.
Yeah, man.
And so that was kind of hard to have my hand out, but there's only so much you can give. If you give monetarily, then you're going to drain yourself. But if everybody worked together, you can get enough to do enough for everyone in need. And so that's why I was like, okay, I'm not asking one person to come off $100,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's get 20 people to come off 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shit like that. Let's get 40 people to come off 2,500. You know, like that.
Bro, I just love your work ethic, bro. Like I always looked up to you, even in Montreal, right? Just because, first off, you're a welcoming soul. Like to be such an angry bird, you're a super welcoming soul. You know what I'm saying? Like how I see you interact with people and how you talk to people. You would never think that you was that violent man on the football.
It's like,
right? Like you really know how to balance that. In what point of your career did you learn how to balance? Okay, on the field, I'm a menace, but in society, I have a reputation. I know I have to carry myself.
I have been true to myself through it all. Yeah. That person, that angry bird person on the field, I played with a lot of violence and passion to where it looked like anger, but it's really excitement.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited to roar. Like after I destroy somebody, like it's not because I'm just a violent person. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up, but I'm doing my job. About it, like they gonna pay me to slam you into the ground. Oh man, you know,
I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job.
That's all right,
Kai. Hey Kai, so let's take it back to Montreal now. So you go to Montreal in 2012, obviously go out, ball out, CFL All-Star, playing safety again. So tell me about those early years in Montreal. I think you came right after they won that Grey Cup in 2011. Is that correct?
Yeah, I missed that run. And so I actually opened up a gym with a couple of my friends in Metairie, Louisiana, near New Orleans. And I took a year off of football. I thought I was done. I didn't think I would ever go play football again. And I just got on the phone with the general manager of Montreal. I was like, man, I look at myself one day in the mirror. I was in my gym. I'm like, dude, I'm 30 years old, but I'm still ripped to shit. I'm like, yeah, I can still play. So I didn't have any other NFL opportunities coming around that. That's why I took the first year off. Yeah. I was waiting to be signed in the NFL. Yeah. And so when that didn't happen, I called up Canada. I was like, look, I still want to play. And they was like, what? You want to play? I had no idea. Man, they flew me to Orlando in a hotel room and signed a deal with the Alouettes one day. And then they had a Canadian. You played for the Montreal Alouettes. They had a French-Canadian safety from Montreal.
Yeah,
that was starting and that actually had NFL. So it was like, okay, I ain't gonna play safety here. I'm gonna have to play another position because that's their guy. Man, they brought in Coach Noel Thorpe. He saw me and he was like, "Nah, we're changing the ratio. That's my guy." Yeah. Matter of fact, was it Noel that first year? I don't think it was Noel that first year. Noel came next year, but the other guy had already said like, "Okay, nah, I'm changing the ratio." And I made good friends with the Canadian safety. I didn't want to see him leave. I thought, you know what I'm saying, we could both exist together. And he ended up leaving to go to Toronto. I became the starting safety there. And then the next year, they were like, okay, we're going to need you to play linebacker. But you're going to get to play some safety too. And when it was all said and done, when Noel Thorpe came, he used me better than anyone had ever used me before. Yeah. Like he knew what to do with me. And I started games at defensive end. I started games at middle linebacker, weak side linebacker, and safety for Montreal.
Mm-hmm. So Noel Thorpe, you because I remember the other day I even called you and you was on the phone with Coach Thorpe.
Yeah.
Explain that relationship with Coach Thorpe, because obviously if you was coached by Coach Thorpe, he could probably possibly rub you the wrong way.
Yes.
I'm not saying that from experience, but
hey. It was times where I was like, this dude outside his damn mind. Yeah. Like, I thought he was outside his mind. And we had a time where, man, it was a moment, and he knows it. I don't know if I probably never said it out loud to him, but it was a time I wanted to flip the desk right on top of his head. And like, I walked out of a meeting, team meeting, defensive meeting. We're watching film, and they told me if I wasn't starting by a certain time, because they brought in a defensive lineman from the NFL. So, that could be a ratio changer too, because sometimes they play with a nose tackle that's a Canadian.
Yeah.
Well, they brought in a defensive lineman, and they changed us from a 3-4 to a 4-3. Mm-hmm. And, like, I was an odd man out. And I was like, all right. So I just asked him to, let me go play for another team. Let me go be great. Y'all do what y'all doing, respect, and just I'm out.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, give it to week 4. By week 4 is not starting. So I went there week 4, went in the meetings. He still didn't have me nowhere, so I just got up out of the meeting, walked to the general manager office. Hey, you told me week 4 we could do something, and Then I talked to Noah, and he's like, man, just trust him. Trust me, I got a plan for you. And he told me, trust me. But it's hard to trust. It's like blind faith. Like, nah, my life is on the line. Like, I need all these duckies. And I can't get them from the sideline. I need all these duckies, and I need to be great. Like, my legacy is going to be tarnished if I'm not out here making plays. So I need to be in a place where I can make plays. Mm-hmm. Sure enough, the other guy was out. They put me in, and I balled out that year. And then, at 37 years old, I was the Eastern Conference Player of the Year.
I know you was, man. That's all about to say. That's all about to get to, because that's when I played with you. I played with you in 2017, and you actually got fined by hitting Cody. I remember that when you messed up Cody, and they gave you, how much they fined you that game? Like 10,000 for that hit?
No, it was 2. It was only 2. But man, I had such a good owner in Montreal. Like, whenever they would like mess with me, he had my back.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't let me ever miss money. I never lost money on fines.
Okay, cool. So, bro, let's touch back on that 2017 season, because I felt like we was a team that had a lot of talent. We had guys like Bowman, guys like you, Chip Cox. We had Jonathan Mincy. We had I'm just trying to think of that defense.
It was good. It was just good. It was good balance between young guys and old guys.
Yeah, but for some reason we couldn't really get the offense figured out. But overall, how much did you enjoy playing for that defense in 2017?
Man, we did some record-breaking stuff that year. I think we went like X amount of games holding the least amount of points that had ever been, because Canadian football is about points, about scoring.
It is.
We would not win games. We would hold teams to like 10 points in the CFL and lose. Like,
bro, I just remember one game that stand out to me that you played that year is when we played a game against BC at BC, and you had like a goal line stand hit. You had I think a pick.
Yeah, I balled out the game.
Great game that game, bro. Like, legitly, I think
I remember that game.
That was bro, I know we lost, but I walked away from that game. I was like, mind you, I already knew you was the top dog on the defense, as far as especially from the linebacker position, you and Bo. But I was just saying that after I left that game, I was like, this nigga Kai is cold. I was like,
it was crazy, bro. But that was so frustrating because we were so good on defense. And then we wouldn't win. We wouldn't win. We'll go a game. No, we win a game where we shut somebody down. They didn't score a touchdown. But they scored a touchdown on defense. Their defense scored because our offense couldn't do shit. Like, God, come on.
Man. It was just like, I wish that we kind of had this Alouette offense that they had the past 2 years.
Yeah.
With the defense we had in 2017.
It was crazy. We had VA on the bench.
We're not going to talk about Cavis Reed right now. Shout out Cavis. Great guy. So you go to Ottawa. Afterwards, you go to Ottawa, and you have a per se, I'm not going to say renaissance because you just balled out the year prior, but I think that when you went to Ottawa, I don't know if it was a change of scenery. I don't know that because the lights is brighter in the capital, but I feel like you took your game up even another notch in Ottawa. Is it fair to say that?
I started going up again. Like, I came into training camp and there was no Ivan there. Nobody knew to meet me at the ball. Yeah. So I would be running and yelling at people, let's go. Like, get to, I had a different level of leadership. And I was a certain middle linebacker too. But whenever first game of the season, second play, I tore a muscle in my quad. And they had a young physical therapist, and his ass got fired next year. But that year, I had to be the victim of him not knowing shit. So he tried to tell me, "Oh no, it's just your age, whatever." Like, motherfucker, I just was defensive player of the year like months ago. Like, I didn't get old in one day. Yeah, like, in a few months, I didn't get old. And so that's what I learned about. If you want to play at an older age, you can't do off seasons. So that whole thing in Houston kind of came full circle. Never did off season, but I did smarter. I worked smarter, so never took time off. So your body doesn't know, like, oh, it's a new season. Your body just thinks you're still working. Yeah. So you're still going. So I didn't take any time off. I kept working, came in there ready, balled out in training camp, and then the second play of the game, my whole thing was done. I was limping. I was in extreme pain. And so they were like, oh, you're just probably getting old. It's cartilage and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I had no cartilage damage. It took them to like no bullshit. It took to week 12 to figure out what was wrong. And then at that point, I got PRP, where they stick the needle in, pull your blood out, spin it, put it back in. And I still had to wait like a week or two after that to play. So then I played like the last 3 games of that, and then in that season, and then we made a run to go to the Grey Cup, where I led us.
That's what I'm saying. That's why, because the stats. That's why I say the stats wasn't obviously as good as the Montreal year.
No, and I missed games. Like I wasn't. I was out there half.
But that run that you had, bro, I felt like you really was the spark to help lead them to that.
I finished strong, and I mean, in no way am I like Tom Brady or anything like that, but I know. From playing my last game, I led the team in tackles on the championship game. Like I did everything I could to help my team win. And then it was done. I was good with that. Had I had a bum game and, like I just deteriorated and I couldn't play no more and the game just left me behind, I think it would have been harder for me to move on in life. But because I did leave while I was still playing at a high level, it was easier to transition.
Yeah, absolutely. So now let's talk about that transition a little bit, right? What's the hardest part you feel for a football player that's just retired? Like, what do you think is the hardest thing? What is the hardest thing for a football player that just retired to kind of like inherit or find as a hobby or try to forget the past while you're trying to still be young? Because you're still young, but you're still trying to
well, in football, I mean, y'all were already calling me grandpa and unc and all that.
I never did.
I appreciate the respect. But and then you go out into corporate America and now you're the younger guy.
Yeah.
And so it was that wasn't that big of a transition. And sometimes people have a void that football fills for them. Well, I had kids and my family and my wife and people that were around me that I wasn't given 100% of, because there's no way. People always talk about balance. You can't be great and have balance. You can't. It ain't gonna work. Yeah. In order to be a 1%er, you have to give more of yourself to that one thing than anything else in the world. So my kids missed out on me because of that. My family missed out on me because of that. The community got more of me. I probably had more time that I spent trying to put charity events for other people that I never met in my life than what I was giving to my actual family. So when football was over, it was like, man, now go be what they need you to be. And that ain't no step away from football. That ain't no step down. Like, that's a step up. That's me doing better. Amen. So I found something better that I could work at. And I got a new career where like we ain't hurting. We good.
I know. I trust me. And we talked the other day about figures. So just know the Angry Bird is living well.
I'm okay. I'm flying high.
Flying high. You feel me? So
yeah.
Kai, before we get going, man, I got a segment called Top 3. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and you're going to give me the top 3 answers, right?
Let's do it.
So, top 3 safeties in NFL history.
Oh, that's easy. Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed, and it's tight. Because I always like Bob Sanders and Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with and Rod Woodson. Because Rod Woodson was a dope corner, and then he moved over. Man, that last spot is just a toss-up between Rod Woodson, Polamalu, and Bob Sanders.
Top 3 basketball players ever.
Jordan. Wilt.
You didn't see Wilt play, but all right.
Man, the man gave you 100. Okay. Wilt Chamberlain and that's not, so tell me if this is right or wrong.
Yeah.
Do you have to witness something for it to have happened?
No.
Exactly. This man averaged 50 points in the season with like 20 rebounds and 10 blocks a game. Go look at that shit.
Like, and honestly, to defend.
So how do you argue those numbers?
And to defend Wilt too, Kai, shit, he you can't blame him for being born when he was born and playing with who he was playing with.
Yeah, like, and they was like, oh, he was bigger than everybody. Like, okay,
all right. One more. So Jordan, Wilt.
Man, Kobe is Jordan. Kobe and Jordan, I feel like they're the same person.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like they're the same person.
I'm eager to see your third person. Who's the third person?
LeBron.
Okay, good.
Because he's dominant in every facet of the game. You know what I mean? He can go out and be your best point guard. He'd be the best two. He'd be the best three. He can guard the center. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that he can't do on the basketball court. And with time, I know people like to do the Jordan, LeBron thing. You can't really compare the two because they're two different type of animals. Jordan and Kobe are one of a kind.
Yeah, killers.
Yeah, they're one of a kind. First, Jordan led the league in scoring and was first team all defense at the same time. You know?
That's so great, bro. I think Jordan actually 1 year, I want to say in 89 or
he led the league in scoring and he was defensive player of the year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He won like MVP, led the league in scoring, it was defensive player.
Bro, like it's crazy.
Hey, so top 3 Louisiana athletes of all time.
Ooh. Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Ed Reed.
Okay.
It's tough.
Louisiana is a state that produced so much.
And Marshall Faulk.
I like it. Top three special teamers that you played with or against in the CFL.
In the CFL? Man, I ain't really never had nobody that could fuck with me. So I'm trying because the first thing I try to do is
that's what I'm saying. Other than yourself,
that's what I'm saying. The first thing my first thought was, who gave me problems? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like who blocked me or who could I not block? You know what I'm saying? And then the answer to that was nobody. So let's move on from that one. Then let's say, okay, let's go by returners. Stephen Logan as a returner. Steph Logan, because I played against him in the NFL and CFL, and he gave us hell every time. Steph Logan, another returner was Keith Stokes and
Chris Rainey. I like it, bro.
Oh, hold up, man. And then hold up, Speedy B.
I'm about to say, like
Speedy B gonna go. Speedy B taking out Keith Stokes. So Speedy B, Logan, and man, I want to flip flop so bad. All right, just stick with the original. Yeah, just take Stokes out, put in Speedy B.
So Kai, before I let you go, I know that you had a radio show for some time. I want to say you had 4 radio shows, right?
I did 2 shows. One of them we did for 4 years, which is on love, sex, and relationships.
Yeah.
And then I had my own football show, Sideline to Sideline with Kai Hebert and Joey Alfredo.
So if somebody's young and wanting to get into the radio business or something like that, do you have any advice for those people that are trying to get in that field?
Study. If you're not like yourself and myself that had an opportunity to play pro sports, because pro sports open up the door for broadcasting because people know that you're knowledgeable of that particular sport.
Yeah.
But if you're not one of these guys, then you have to be the best. So everything you can learn about your field, get information, be around those who are doing the things that you want to do, and don't be outworked and don't be denied. Like if this is what you want to do, commit to it, get as much research, and be the best at it that you can possibly be, and don't take no for an answer.
Advice to a young kid from Eunice, Louisiana, that want to pursue a career in football.
Failure is not an option. Need it like you need to breathe. You know what I mean?
Amen, bro. I like that, bro. Hey, Kai. So I just want to take a step back and give you your flowers, man. I just want to say that I appreciate you for first off coming onto the pod, but I appreciate you how you ingratiated yourself with me when I first came to Montreal. I appreciate you always throughout the years being somebody I could reach out to somebody that I could look up to. And I just want you to know that, bro, that you're a great man, bro. And what makes
thank you.
And what makes you great, bro, is not all the tackles you made on defense. It's not all the tackles you made on special teams. Not all the interceptions, the sacks, the forced fumbles, the fumble recoveries. We can go on and on about those accolades. I think what stands out in the best quality you have, bro, is the father you is, bro. And you realizing that you have to put that same energy now in your post-career into your family that you put into your career. And I just salute you, man. You're really a stand-up guy, brother. And if I could just continue that trajectory, kind of like what you did, I feel that would be a success in my life. But I don't want to imitate you per se, but I definitely look up to you, and I want to shape and take some of the stuff and qualities I see as you as a man and instill them in myself. And I think that, bro, you're awesome, bro, and I really appreciate you doing this, bro, for real.
Hey, man, it's all love. I appreciate you too, man. And remember we spoke about community. I just want to plug my shirt real quick.
Oh yeah, please, yeah. And then talk about Kai Cares too if you're still doing that, you know.
Yeah, well, I haven't been, man. I used to have so much free time with football to where I could give so much of myself. Now in my new career, I gotta work, so I gotta do stuff that makes money. But this is a local company. I don't even know who the guys are, but I love their stuff, and it's called Ugly but it's an acronym. You gotta love yourself. So never forget that. So I put this on intention. Rep the logo.
This you gotta do. You gotta get me in contact with him so I can order me a sweater because I like that. I really like that.
That's what's up.
Dope, man. So Kai, go ahead and go enjoy your Friday night, brother.
Appreciate you, brother. All love, Ivan.
All right then, brother. There you go, folks. Do you have it? Episode 2, season 3 with my dog Angry Bird. As always, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. This is the Leisure Time Podcast with your boy iMac. You already know the deal. Peace.